I know you could hear me whistling.
I could hear you whistling. I was going to start whistling, but my whistling wouldn't have matched the song. So I had to like drown out my earworm and
Yeah,
get into moment of present.
yeah, I hear you on that. I still that intro song every single
So
time
fun.
I think of Ocean's 11. Single
Yes.
time.
Yes,
Yep.
yes, yes.
George Clooney, peak Brad Pitt, the rest of the crew that's cool too.
You know, thinking about it, Julia Roberts in that movie
Hmm.
is kind of apropos that we have this topic today.
So true. We didn't even plan that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. There's a few of them.
Hmm.
Yeah. So, speaking of which, welcome to Moment of Presence.
Today, you're getting hit with a newsflash, which is you're hiding, you're not healing. Also said is you're not really healing, you're just hiding, aka avoiding.
Yeah.
What does that mean though? We're going to dive into that.
I did this and I was like, wait, is that jazz hands or newsflash?
But first, who are you, Michelle?
Well, in case you haven't heard or know, I am Michelle with Moksha Grace Coaching, and I absolutely love helping people heal from within, not relive past memories, but heal and be able to move on and manage their emotions so that their emotions are not managing them, which is a lot of what we're going to talk about today. And you are?
Hi, guys. My name's Krista. I am an ops professional and coach, and I help people learn how to strategize, set up their ops, and get the most out of their CRMs.
I love that,
Yeah.
mainly because I get to benefit a lot from it, but I also get to see how you just streamline people's lives by helping them do stuff that they don't know how to do. So you take care of it, and then everything just functions like automatically. It's really
Thank
cool.
you for that. And
Super cool.
likewise to you, but that's what we're going to talk about this whole episode. So I'll just leave that where it is. Also, Michelle is fine. She's just having a little bit of like a tendon thing in her thumb. I just want to touch on that.
Yeah, didn't break anything, but there's just like a little thing going
Old
on.
muscle thing. She's good.
Yeah, I'm good. Got a great doctor handling it. So
Okay.
yes.
So today's topic.
Today's topic. Are you
It's a big one.
Yeah, you're hiding, not healing. What the heck does that mean? What that means is that if you think working out 2 or 3 times a day or binge watching TV on the weekend so you don't have to see anybody, or
Religiously reading self-help books nonstop, constantly looking for what the next thing is that's wrong with you. I might do that, so I feel you on that.
then we have a news flash for you, because that's actually hiding and you're
Well, hold
not.
on. There's still some other things to add to that. If
Okay.
you're religiously reciting affirmations to yourself,
Yes.
that could be part of it. If you are constantly feeling like you need other people's input, could be part of it.
Oh, yes.
If you're cutting people off out of your life left and right, could be part of it. If you are
Running from job to job.
yep, that could be part of it. If you're leaving most group scenarios because you get overwhelmed, could be part of it.
Yep.
Now go ahead.
All of these things impact your life, impact the relationships that you have with other people, with yourself, with life in general, how you can proceed in life. Are you going to succeed or fail? And if you're hiding and you're in a comfort zone, you know, there was this old movie called The Bubble Boy, and it was not a funny movie. But my point is that you cannot live in a bubble and expect the world to cater to your emotions and what you can handle and not handle, you have to learn how to regulate your own emotions so that you can handle being out in the world. I don't care what you do, where you go, you need to be able to function. And if you can't function, then that's a problem. And if you're pushing people away, if you're the one if you're the one in the family that doesn't get invited to barbecues because there always seems to be an argument, that might be a sign that you're the one that causes the argument. And we might want to tap into why that is and how to function, not not in a sense of accommodating other people or giving in, letting go of your values, but how you can maintain your sovereign being, but still be able to be with people that you don't necessarily agree with.
You dove right into the topic with that.
Yeah. Well, this is something that I dealt with for the majority of my life until I started diving in and doing the work. And I thought that it was normal to be cut out of a family because they were mad at you and disowned. I thought that was normal. Like, that doesn't happen in all families. I thought that was normal for family members to come and go, whether they were mad at you or not. Like, oh, you're cut off this week, but this week we know your name. um, God love everybody. They all grow up their own way and they all have their own demons to deal with. But I dealt with it. It was not easy because there's some things that you have to look at within yourself, and you can't just blame everything on the other person. And that's the part where everyone gets a little bit nervous and why they don't do the work, because you got to take accountability for your part in the situation. So, Krista, what's your thought?
I was gonna say I'm just waiting for an in here.
A little
I
passion
love
about
the
this.
passion. I have a lot of thoughts on this, but to maybe deliver in a little bit of a softer way for people who might need the delivery a little bit different.
Okay,
Um,
change the environment.
no, I mean we're in total agreement on this. I think this is a very big topic and one that we should probably break up into a lot of different episodes or just talk about it often, because I think in the last 5 to 10 years we've as a society backpedaled on this a lot, and actually have gone backwards. There's a big push for um, you know no more bullying and everyone needs to be nice and niceness and kindness, and like, yeah, absolutely all of that. But what that's done is it's now erased the idea in everyone's mind to learn how to self-regulate, to learn how to regulate their own emotions, how to deal with conflict, how to navigate conflict, how to just deal with other people. And so now we've got a lot of people, it's such a popular thing now, like, well, I cut off my mom because she acts this way, and I cut off my dad and my aunt and my sibling and my friends and my this and that because they don't act the way that I want them to. And it really causes us to become A, lonely, because you're going to end up with nobody left. And B, it's just such an obvious sign of lack of emotional regulation and knowing how to emotionally regulate. And just like you worked through this yourself, my late teens and early 20s was spent being I'll just bluntly say it, a more left leaning individual politically and emotionally, in that I was very short tempered. I flew off the handle very easily. Everything that everyone said offended me. I felt like I needed to take a stance on everything. And if I didn't, that said something about me. And then like you did, I started to really do the inner work. And I really started to identify how that was defense mechanisms, how that was me not being able to regulate my emotions. And since I've done that over the last 8 to 10 years, my relationships I wouldn't even recognize the relationships I have now
Yeah.
back then. My relationships are better. I'm a happier person. I have less anxiety, all because I learned how to emotionally regulate. Because they don't teach you that in school. They
No.
sure as hell don't teach you that in college.
Right.
We have to do that for ourselves.
Yeah.
And nobody's really talking about that enough that it's something that we can, that we just, everyone is aware of it.
Well, and it should be like a normal part of growth, right? Emotional intelligence. You shouldn't have to hear that for the very first time in the corporate world or reading a book. It
You're
should
not
be
going to hear
something
that in
that,
the corporate world. You're going to hear that in a in some sort
no,
of video
you
that they
no,
send you.
it does come up in the corporate world, but it's always about regulating yourself into the
Mhm.
corporation,
Yeah,
into the leaders, not how to manage yourself and still be
yeah,
able to be healthy
yeah.
emotionally and otherwise in a situation that you don't always agree with. Just because two people don't agree doesn't mean like you have to go separate ways, or you don't have to. How many times um have I know I have been unfriended. Somebody has left me a scathing message and then just unfriended me, and it's
Mhm.
like, wait, what?
Yeah.
What?
Real quick, I just want to add, because this is something that we have to do with the internet the way that it is.
Yes.
We're not telling you to stay in abusive or physically violent
No.
relationships or situations. That's a whole different separate thing. This is the conversation we're having, is the awareness of knowing when something is, you need to learn how to have emotional regulation, and when something is a dangerous situation is an entirely different matter. Um,
Yeah, we're not
that's
talking about
very different things here.
yeah, 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 yeah.
But to your point, sorry, I have this one hair on my shoulder driving me crazy. To your point, in this, we even see this in social media. I mean, I literally just saw it yesterday. Someone that I've been following for like 6 months to a year, she posted something that I didn't really agree with. And at first I was like, oh, I'm unfollowing. And then I was like, hold on a second. This is the first thing that you've ever seen her post. Let it go. So I scrolled on, I moved on. But it's interesting because my initial reaction was, oh, I got to unfollow this person.
Mm-hmm.
Pause. What do I really know? How do
Right.
I really want to behave? How do I really want to live my life? Make a different decision.
Yeah, exactly. Because we can have different opinions and
Absolutely.
still function together in whatever role we have in each other's lives.
Hmm.
And I think people have forgotten that,
Yeah,
and they just want to surround themselves in this little safety net world, this comfort zone, where they handpick who gets to come in because it won't disrupt their peace. And it's like, wait a minute, hold on a second. um
well,
it
you
was
can't grow and you can't learn in that space. And Abraham Hicks talks about this all
Yeah.
the time. If that's your cup of tea and you watch a lot of Abraham Hicks stuff, you'll see that she talks about, like, you can't avoid situations and hope that you're going to know how to navigate them. Because
Right.
as soon as you get exposed to any of that, all of that emotion is going to rush back in, except it's going to be compounded because it's been so long since you've been in that situation.
Well, and the other thing that she says, it's one of my favorite stories, is you can't also expect, sorry about that, you can't also expect other people to know what your triggers are or things that'll upset you and
Absolutely.
act in a certain way so they don't offend you. And she makes, she says this story like, what are you going to take out an ad in the paper and with your face on it and say, if you see me, this is how you should behave? No, it's your responsibility. And so, taking radical responsibility and acceptance for yourself is huge, and you have to start within.
Mm-hmm.
I don't suggest going, oh, I'm going to radically accept everybody else. You got to accept yourself first
Yeah.
in order to understand other people, not judge them, but understand their perspective. Where are they coming from?
I gotta tell you, when you start really diving into perspectives and really training your mind to look at different perspectives, and it it is such a blessing and a curse, because how often or
Mhm.
you hear me be like, well, but I'm sure it could be this or it could be this, and you're like, yeah, but well, maybe not you, but friends will be like, well, f that person, and I'm like, well, no, I mean, it could be this or this.
Mhm.
It relieves me of my emotional upheaval by being able to see from other perspectives. I'm not letting them off the hook. I'm not saying what they did isn't wrong, stupid, unfair, blah 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 blah, but I'm looking at it from the perspective of, I can see where they're coming from. All right, that's cool.
And like you said, maybe you don't know the whole story. Maybe there's a lot more that brought them to that place.
Mhm,
And let's say somebody is staying in a job that they can't stand and they're just bitching and bitching and bitching about it and they're not doing anything about it. Well, it is not our place or our responsibility to judge them for it. That's their journey.
mhm,
Let them have their journey. We can't force someone to see something they're not ready to see yet, number 1. And number 2, they've got to see it on their own schedule or they're not going to fully understand it and grasp the situation. Hence a lot of what's going on in the world, and we won't get into the details, but there are a lot of things that are being unveiled, so to speak, that have been in front of people, but they haven't been ready to see it. And there's eyes that are being opened, minds being blown of, oh my gosh. And it's like, well, yeah, we've kind of seen this coming, but it's okay. They weren't ready.
mhm,
And that's okay.
yeah.
And it's up to us to also have patience with other people, just like we either had someone had patience with us or we would have wanted
Mhm.
someone to have patience.
Well,
And
let's think about it. Something like this, where someone having emotional upheavals because they haven't actually worked through something, they're avoiding it, aka you're hiding, not healing. It reminds me a lot of, back in the day when a kid threw a tantrum in the middle of a store. Like, you did this with us as kids. Like, you picked our ass up and carried us outside. Like, we're not staying in this situation. I'm not giving you attention for this. Like, you're going to figure out how to deal with your emotions, or it's not going to bug other people.
yeah,
And where we've kind of, to my perspective, you tell me if you feel like this too, especially with social media. What's now happening is people are using emotional dysregulation as an attention gathering method. And so, there's all sorts of videos of people having outbursts and emotional whatever all over social media, which is such a foreign concept to me, because I would rather grind my skin on a cheese grater than cry on the internet. But to each his own. Um, I can't imagine that, but do your thing. But you're creating these situations as attention mechanisms.
hmm
You're not actually healing. You're not creating a difference. You're not making a difference. You're just airing things out for the
you're airing your dirty laundry that we were all, I know, raised to not do,
world.
because no one needs your dirty laundry.
Well,
Like,
it's not. Aside from all of that, it's not productive. There's
right.
nothing that we can do with that. And
Right.
so by actually stepping into the limelight and taking a harder look at yourself, which is very difficult. If, to your point a few minutes ago, if you're not ready for it, you really have to get to the point where you are ready for it first, because it is something that's very difficult to do. We still struggle with it all the time, and I pride myself on really taking probably too hard of a look at myself, but it's always a work in progress. But if you're not willing to take that look, you're not going to be able to identify it. And I've talked about this tons on this show. But one of the best things that I ever did was, I was probably about, what, 24, 25. And I decided, I was like, I am so done with feeling upset all the time. I am
Yeah.
so done with trying to run away from all of these situations that I'm finding myself in, where I'm being triggered and I feel offended and I feel all of these emotions. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to force myself to stay in that situation. It was
Mm-hmm.
a dangerous situation. I was in no harm's way, but I would force myself to sit in that discomfort. And what it did was I broke free from it.
Mm-hmm.
I sat in that discomfort until my nervous system regulated itself. Now those same things don't bother me anymore at all, like even remotely. In one ear, out the other.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't even there's no rise in my anxiety. There's no I need to escape the situation. I
Right.
regulated my nervous system because I was tired of feeling unpleasant.
Well, you're giving your power away because you're handing over
By not doing
your
it, you're giving your power away.
right. You're giving your mood, right? The method of which your mood is controlled or changed, shifted, is now in the hands of the people around you versus you going like, yeah, okay, this person usually talks about this. It can
They're
trigger
a ball
me.
buster. They like creating
Okay.
arises out of people.
And so but and that's why I say that it's so important to know thyself
Mhm.
and accept thyself first, because then you can call yourself out and go, okay, I know that sometimes in this situation I can react like this, so going into it I'm going to make a concerted effort that if this happens I'm going to respond.
Mhm.
Like there was a situation the other day, and I I had a little bit of a temper tantrum. I knew myself enough that I literally was like, okay, all right, I need a moment. And I
And I
did.
may have walked over and said, "Relax your face.
Right.
You're good. Take a breath. Relax your face.
I
Relax the
need, it was
muscles."
nothing life threatening, but I was like, I need a moment to process this, and I took my moment, and then
You regulated your nervous system
mhm,
and then returned to the day.
yes, absolutely, and I had a phenomenal day. It was one moment in that day that kind of shook me,
And
and
how
it
often do we let one thing bother
ruined
us
the
for the rest of the day?
day. Right.
Because we don't have the experience, we don't have the muscle memory of regulating our nervous system, regulating our emotions, pulling ourselves back and identifying, oh, that is making me feel not great. Okay, let's work through that. I had a situation last week where someone made a comment to me and I realized, oh, wow, that actually is bothering me. And I literally stopped and went, oh, okay, so the reason this is bothering me is because in some element of this, I feel like there's some truth to it. Okay, what do I
Mhm.
really know about this situation? And I de-escalated myself, went on with my day. But you have to know how to do that, and you also have to get into the pattern of doing that. Or else, yeah, that could have sent me into a spiral.
Yeah, and again it goes back to knowing yourself, because you had to know your truth, right? I know my truth. You have to know your truth to be able to go, okay, yeah, sometimes I can act like a spoiled brat. All right, well, I'm gonna
I
get over
never
it.
said that was the
No, I'm talking about me.
oh.
Okay, I can deal with this. You had to like take a look and go, okay, what are the facts here? What is the truth? What is real? What isn't? Did this happen in the past? Is it bringing me back to something in the past? That's where I get very curious. When you get curious, there are a couple things that you're doing. You're not just regulating your emotions, you're also regulating your nervous system, because by asking yourself questions, you're bringing yourself into a moment of presence. And so you're in the moment, you're being,
Yep.
you're not feeling the anxiety, because you're using your mind, you're using your heart. So you've got some coherence going. You're running your cycle, you're cycling through that. And by asking yourself questions and getting responses, you're reminding yourself that you have a relationship with yourself. You've got
And
your own back.
and you're tapping into different perspectives to see things from different angles. And I
Yes.
want to make sure that we touch on, it's going to be a little bit of a shift, but I want to make sure we touch on, like, what do we really mean by hiding versus healing? And I really want to kind of circle back to that, because I feel like we've only touched on that in the very beginning. And the classic example of this is someone who's like, oh, I don't need to work on that. I already worked on that.
Oh, I got that. I'm done.
Yeah. I worked on that a few years ago. I don't need to circle back to it. If you're feeling the need that you have to constantly journal about something, you're having a lot of dreams about something, there's a word that someone says that causes an emotional reaction to you, that you're even thinking about something, you really haven't worked through. You have not fully healed what you need to heal, and that's the way that it works. Like, it's not like there's something
Yeah.
wrong, there's something you still need to work on. Like, that is the way that it works. Is
Right.
there's always new levels to heal. There's always more, layers of the onion to pull back.
Mm-hmm.
But if you're constantly having to read more books, if you're constantly having to talk to someone about the same situation over and over again, if you're saying affirmations over and over and over again, and you have been for years, you're meditating on the same exact thing every time, there is such a thing as pushing something over here and putting it on a shelf to deal with later.
Mm-hmm.
But if you never deal with it, you're not actually healing, you're just avoiding that thing. You're putting it on a shelf to then stare at you all day, every day, lurking in the corner,
Mm-hmm.
waiting for a chance to jump out and crumble you.
And I'm going to dovetail on that and add that, is it that you haven't healed that, or are you hiding behind that because there's something else lurking, like fear of
Drop.
success? Yeah, like fear of success. So I'm going to sabotage myself, keep myself in these situations because I really don't want to be seen. Why don't I want to be seen? Well, because if I'm seen, then this bad thing that happened to me when I was 8 could happen again, or 10, whatever, could happen again because I was seen and I was called out, versus, or I wasn't safe, versus going, I'm safe. I'm
And
safe
let me touch on something real quick.
now.
The monologue that you just did is not a conscious monologue that we're talking about. This is subconscious thoughts and feelings
Right.
and thought trains that are happening. We're not saying, it may seem silly that I'm addressing this, but I think what happens a lot in the mindfulness and spiritual and realm is that we assume that people are speaking about things literally, and I think it actually prevents people from being able to fully understand and move forward on things, because if you were to say that and you don't know any better, someone may hear that and go, oh, well, I'm not thinking those things, so that's not me.
Right.
These are subconscious trains of thought that are happening because of something from childhood, something from a past life, something that happened last week that you may not really remember, but your
Mm-hmm.
subconscious does.
Yeah. Yeah. Because we are our own, our best advisors, but there's that other part of us that is also our own worst enemy. And when we get to know, I'm not going to call it an enemy, but you start out and that's where it is. When you get to know that side of yourself, you can show compassion and empathy, which is exactly what that part of you needed whenever that trauma situation, whatever that flashback is, that's what you needed in the moment. And now you get to provide that to that part of yourself and develop a relationship. That part of yourself is not going to just magically disappear and go away. We're not talking about cutting out pieces of yourself. We're talking about actually embracing all of those pieces,
Mhm.
loving all of those pieces because they deserve it. They make up who you are today.
Mhm.
And for those people that are like, "Well, I don't like who I am today." Okay, do you really even know what made you who you are today? Do you know how you got to be who you are today? Let's take a look at that. And when you when you do, again, not going too much into that's not what coaching is to go too deep into the memories, but how you're feeling, and then going, okay, but how can we look at
See this
this
from a different angle.
shift your perspective and go, okay, well, because I am scared or fearful or I sabotage myself, I'm actually tenacious, relentless, never give up, and I have a lot of courage and bravery. But if I didn't experience that other stuff, I wouldn't know how to be this that I am today. And that's when we get to embrace those pieces and go, thanks. Like, thank you for showing me the way on how to do this now.
Mm-hmm.
We can't get there unless we feel it. We can't get there. And everyone thinks like, oh, but if I have to go through it and it's going to be so hard, it's going to hurt. And if you have someone to help you go through it, it doesn't have to hurt. We don't bring the emotion into it. We fly up here like an eagle and look down on situations and go, okay, this happened. We can't change it.
Well, the other thing too is that what we can often do, and I've been there myself, is we assume that, well, if I let myself fully feel this, either A, I'm going to drown in it, or B, it's never going to go away. And I have a really interesting example of this. So when my beloved dog passed away 4 years ago now, we knew it was coming. She had some health concerns. Like, I knew that the time was near, and I made a conscious decision. I remember saying this to myself: I am not going to hold back my tears on this. I am not going to hold back when I feel like I need to grieve this. I'm going to very intentionally let myself get emotional when I need to get emotional.
Mm-hmm.
It took a couple weeks. I would randomly burst out in tears from time to time, but I've never gotten through the hardest part of grief as quickly as I did when I set that intention and allowed myself to feel what I needed to feel in the moment.
Yeah.
Differently, when your mother passed about a year ago, I was not prepared for that at all, and it's been a freaking journey.
Yeah.
The PTSD that I am still working through on that, it's still there. I was not prepared. I was just not where I needed to be for that.
Yeah.
It caught me off guard.
Yeah.
Now, if I had a little bit better muscle memory on dealing with that, it probably would have been different. But
Mm-hmm.
letting myself feel those emotions when I needed to, and getting myself back in the habit now of feeling those emotions when I need to, it
Mm-hmm.
helps you get through it quicker. There's actually even a great trick when it comes to physical pain. What we tend to do with physical pain is, I need to get rid of it. I need to get rid of it. I'm in pain. I want to get rid of it.
Or
Next,
push it down, ignore it.
but what happens is, what's very interesting, you can test this out at home.
Mm-hmm.
If you actually, let's say you're feeling nauseous. If you're feeling nauseous and you actually take a second, take a deep breath, close your eyes if you want to, and speak
Mm-hmm.
to that part of your body that's hurting and say, you know what, for 30 seconds, I want you to give me the worst of it that you can. I just want to give me all of it. Hit me real quick with it. Let's get through this. You'll feel a rush, and then it'll dissipate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's incredible. Like, it's genuinely is incredible. The same sort of thing can happen with your emotions.
Absolutely. And so in my metaphysician class that I'm taking, and yes, I'm going to get certified in that, uh, that's part of what I'm learning, and it makes so much sense. And she tells a story about a woman who had a car accident, and it was really bad. The you know paramedics get there, and she was really upset. She was in a lot of pain. And what do? They want to knock you out. They knocked her out, so she could feel comfortable. They got her to the
Assuming
hospital.
anesthesia.
Yeah. Yes, not like a hammer. Uh,
It is sucker puncher.
and
Got
she
it.
she says, like, she never got over that car accident. She had a really hard time in those situations where it brought back the memories of that car accident, where she got in another car accident, but this time the paramedics didn't come, but she had the pain, but she knew enough to like allow the pain, the trauma, the being fearful. She allowed all of it to come up, cried, let it out, and she was able to get back in a car. And she's like basically forgotten about that second car accident,
Mm-hmm.
but she's still carrying some of the trauma from the first.
Yeah,
And it makes so much sense.
it does.
And we have to allow our bodies to feel it. And we you brought up my mom. When when we ended up getting to her house, I saw the paramedics, I saw everything happening. I let out this blood curdling scream, which was great for me because I was letting out my emotions, but the secondary trauma got absorbed by somebody else that was in the car with me. That's also in the screen right now.
I was gonna say I'm laughing because she's talking about me. I'm not being incredibly
No,
insensitive.
no, and but it's so interesting because when I got in the house, what we're learning in class, and I didn't understand. I was so cold, and I started shaking, and I had to like put on a sweater, and it's hot. We're in
Yeah,
Florida,
her house was not cold.
and I had to put on a sweater, and I was shivering and shaking. That's part of trauma. And when we stop ourselves from processing whatever's happening by uh, not allowing the shake, right? Again, inducing some
So
kind
hold
of.
on. Let's not allowing, your physical body to do what it needs to do, not allowing yourself to cry, escaping the situation,
Mhm.
running away from it,
Yep.
shutting down, not speaking things out. Uh,
Hmm.
all of that, then go ahead.
Then turns into you basically creating like this trauma pocket inside of you that now you're carrying around. And guess what? It's going to start poisoning you from the inside out if you
100%.
don't process it. And so that's why it's so important to feel the feels. The more you feel, like as soon as you feel it, it dissipates. But if you hold on to it and squish it down deeper and deeper, it's going to grow and get bigger and bigger until it's anger, or it comes out as anger, or
It
it comes
comes
out.
out as physical ailments.
Well, yes, yes, that
Maybe we
too.
can do that for next week's topic is dive into that more. That's
Yeah.
a really good topic to talk
Hmm. Yeah.
about, especially in today's world.
Well, and so if we want to talk about my physical ailment, what side of my body is it on? Oh, my left. What is the left associated with? Mom, divine feminine.
Female.
Hmm. And so it makes absolute sense. So, what do I need to do to process it? There's some more stuff in there that I got to dive into. And I'm doing that. I'm dealing with the emotions that are as they come up. You don't force them. You don't go like, I'm going to deal with my shit.
Yeah, actually, no, seriously though, like don't do that because
Yeah.
I once did a coaching program a few years ago. I think we talked about this, but there was an exercise that the coach taught me, and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna like pull up a bunch of stuff to work on with this exercise. Don't don't do that.
Let me think of all of the things and bring them all in at once.
No, it literally, and I was in such a good spot too. I felt so good. Things were rocking and rolling. I was not after that, and that's because I was trying to force things.
Yeah, you got to allow them to come up naturally, and then you have to process them in as in the moment as you can. Now, if you're in a situation where you can't let it out at that second, remind yourself,
Hmm.
make a note, write it on a sticky, do something. Don't just swallow it down, but take some time to really talk it through or write it out, um,
Well, and
and
there's a
work
distinction
through it.
here. There's a distinction here too, and I think this is a good place to leave off for today. Is you get to make a choice. I'm gonna steal your line a little bit. You get to make a choice of do I want to be right
Hmm.
or do I want to feel peace? And in every moment, you have that choice. And I think that's particularly helpful for where we are kind of like as a society and how things are going on. You have that moment in every moment of which do I want to feel.
Mm-hmm.
And same thing along the lines of that, of you saying, not to bury anything down. If you are someone that does feel nervous system arousal often, that could look like getting mad, angry, sad,
Anxiety.
offended, whatever, intentionally sitting in that with those emotions and letting them go is not pushing them down. Pushing them down is running away and pretending the situation never happened. There's a big difference between that and intentionally deciding, I'm feeling uncomfortable right now. I'm going to sit with this for a second.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to
I'm
sit.
going, or even I'm going to remove myself from the situation to go sit with it.
Yes. As long as there's the intention there, though, not just running away because I need to get out of this. Big
Right.
difference there.
Yeah,
And like the
absolutely.
example you give often, especially around the holidays, is like, you can, maybe you have a family that does cause you a lot of nervous system disarray. Yeah, if you intentionally say, okay, I'm at my max with my nervous system,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and make the choice to go home now because I need to regulate myself.
Yeah.
Big difference than I need to get out of the situation. I can't deal with this anymore. I need to go. I need to go. Big difference there.
Or not going at all. It can just
Or
be,
not going at all.
I know I'm going to go. I'm going to see the family. This uncle is probably going to get drunk and cause a problem and start trouble. This aunt is going to ask me questions that are totally inappropriate. This one is going to do this. Okay, I'm going to just like, that's interesting. Okay, cool. I'm going to go in the kitchen and do dishes. Whatever.
There's real power in setting the intention of everything's going to roll off of me today.
Yeah. And you just like water rolls off of a duck. That's it. Just
It's so funny because
rolls off.
the most powerful techniques that we have, more often than not, are the simplest.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just setting an intention
Mm-hmm.
can do everything you need it to.
And I'm gonna mention this real quick because I think it's super important. If you continue to speak of a situation, whether if it's pain, if it's you being upset, the more you bring it up and talk about it, the more you're basically keeping it alive and active in your nervous system. So speak it, process it, journal it, get it out, and then let it go. It's done. I have pain. I'm feeling pain in my leg today. I'm feeling pain in my hand today. Okay, what do you need? What does my pain need? Okay, it needs to be rested, my hand, whatever. I need to process some of those emotions. All right, cool. But you don't focus on the pain. Oh my God. Did I tell you about my pain? So I've had this pain for like months now.
How about um, I'm in pain? No, you're
Yeah,
not. You're not in pain.
right,
You're feeling pain. Your
right.
arm
Feeling
is feeling some pain. Your arm is
yeah,
hurting. You're not that thing.
yeah.
Oh, I'm so sad. No, you're not sad. You're feeling sad.
Mhm. My
And
hand is healing.
again, simplest difference between those two, and yet they make all the difference.
Right. Right.
On that note, where can people find you?
Mokshagrace.com and on social media, anywhere under Moksha Grace. Please reach out. We'll have a conversation. See if working together is good. If not, it's a really good conversation. There has never been one person that has hung up the phone and gone, dang, that was a waste. It's a conversation. There are always good conversations. And yes, one conversation can make a difference. So definitely book a call. Um, yeah. Where can they find you?
You can find me at wickedwisdomconsulting.com. Also, just, around the social media and such. And I'm going to steal your line, Michelle, so you don't have to say it. Share this out. Share, tag folks that you think it would be good for them to hear this message. I know we kind of went through a lot of different things today, but this is a really, 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 really really important and really big topic because there are a lot of shifts happening in society and we are starting to move in the right direction. And you really don't want to fall behind. And that is falling behind in learning how to emotionally regulate yourself. So,
Yeah.
if you are finding that you're the type of person that does feel a lot of emotional upheaval, book a call with Michelle. Seriously, the work that she does is genuinely incredible. I'm lucky enough to have, her as my mom, so I get kind of free coaching on the regular. Um, it makes a big difference to not have to figure it out yourself. So book a call, mokshagrace.com/coaching. Keep tuning in, like, subscribe, follow, whichever platform you're watching on. We
Mm-hmm.
go live every week, Thursdays at 12 p.m. Eastern. And, comment, let us know your thoughts. How are you doing with this topic? What are you finding is something that's causing you a lot of, emotional disarray, as I
Mm-hmm.
referenced
Yeah.
it. And
And
if there's a topic you want to hear us talk about, comment that too.
I was just going to go there.
I
And
know.
I will, we're going to do a different kind of breathing, and I'll leave you with that. This is for when you're feeling a lot of angst or anxiety is coming up for you. Maybe you're in the middle of a panic attack or you're hyperventilating. Uh, I was like, oh my God, that's so easy. Why have I never thought of that? So you basically look up and you take your deep breaths with your neck extended, your shoulders back. So just take a
Wow,
deep
I
breath
can actually
in,
take a deep breath that way. Holy cow. Real
right?
live real live results right here for everybody.
So just look up and then take a deep breath in and then slowly exhale.
You're blowing my mind right now. Oh my
See?
god, I'm getting dizzy from all the oxygen that I'm breathing in.
Right? Take another deep breath in.
Blew my mind just now.
Yes.
You're gonna have to tell me why that is that way.
I'll be here all day. No.
You'll you'll be here at mokshagrace.com/coach.
I'm here all day. So bottom line is that you are in control. When people go, "Oh my god, I don't feel like I've lost control." No, you didn't. You gave it up. You have control of yourself. You can't control anyone else out there. Stop trying. Control yourself first. That changes your environment. So,
That
when you wake
changes
up
your
in the
life.
it changes your life. When you wake up in the morning, you get to decide if you're going to have a good day, set your intention. You can decide to have a bad day, set your intention for that if you want to. But either
Or
way,
set no intention at all.
or set no intention at all. Either way, it is completely up to you. I personally like to premeditate for my day. So, you want to hear more about that? We could talk about that. I think that might be next week on some spiritual myths, I think we're talking about. So, maybe we'll dive into that a little and more of this as well. So, thanks for being here. Comment, let us know what you think, and have a great one. We'll
Next
see you
week.